माई मैटर्नल ग्रैंडफादर, क्या बोलते हैं हिंदी में?
नाना जी।
नाना जी।
हाँ।
आप सब बहुत अनलकी हो क्योंकि आप मिडिल क्लास फैमिली में यू आर नॉट बॉर्न।
इन्फ्लुएंशियल फैमिलीज में ऐसा क्या सिखाया जाता है जो मिडिल क्लास फैमिलीज में नहीं सिखाया जाता?
lot of people are told not to dream, finish college, get a job, don't take risks. But from a young age, I've always been allowed to dream, to fly.
If someone in their 20s or 30s is watching this, how to build reaction capability?
So it is something like you have a desire or an opportunity, it presents itself, and then you fall into a dilemma. Should I take the opportunity? Should I speak? Should I ask? Should I do? And you keep thinking and the opportunity is gone. So now I've conditioned myself to...
Which failure taught you the most?
I was a bad kid. That 1-2 year period, I went through a lot of emotional turmoil. While that failure in that moment was horrible or painful and frustrating, it was that failure mistake that made me who I am today.
क्या एथिकल लोग पॉलिटिक्स में सरवाइव कर सकते हैं?
So the problem with democracy is that people want to come into power to do good. To come into power, you need to satisfy people. To satisfy people, you have to promise them. And it is easy to promise easy things. What is that? I'll give you this much money per month. I'll give you a free bus ride. I'll give you a free this. And if I don't promise you, the opposition will promise. So freebies are becoming necessary evil.
रिसेंटली अभी न्यूज में बहुत ज्यादा है. व्हाट आर योर व्यूज अबाउट कॉकरोच जनता पार्टी?
सोशल मीडिया पर एक नई पार्टी लॉन्च की गई और इस पार्टी का नाम है
CJP, कॉकरोच जनता
पार्टी.
See, I think there is some latent frustration that is there in the youth. If you don't listen to your stakeholders, don't feel their pain, don't answer their pain, then you cannot remain in power.
ये जो पॉडकास्ट है ना, ये उसके साथ है जिसने बचपन से ही खूब पैसा और खूब पावर देखी. उनके दादाजी और नाना जी दोनों मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट. इनके फैमिली के कई बिजनेसेस हैं, लीडिंग यूनिवर्सिटी है. वेल्थ और पावर होने के बावजूद इनकी फैमिली में नेक्स्ट जनरेशन को बिगाड़ने की जगह स्पेसिफिक वैल्यूज सिखाई जाती है, एक मेंटल ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है, बताया जाता है कि कैसे एक इंडिपेंडेंटली पावरफुल लीडर बना जा सकता है, कैसे फाइनेंशियली सक्सेसफुल बना जा सकता है. तो ये जो एपिसोड है ना, ये किसी रिच फैमिली के लाइफस्टाइल के बारे में नहीं है, बल्कि उनके रिच रहने और आम लोगों के मिडिल क्लास रहने के बीच का जो माइंडसेट गैप है, उसको डीकोड करने के लिए है. आज के हमारे गेस्ट हैं विशाखापट्टनम के मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट और गीतम यूनिवर्सिटी के प्रेसिडेंट मथुकुमिली सिरी भरत. उनसे हमने जाना कि रिच फैमिलीज में क्या अलग सिखाया जाता है, पावर चले जाने के बाद भी खुद को कोई मेंटली टफ कैसे रखता है, और कैसे बचपन में शाय और लेस कॉन्फिडेंट होने के बावजूद भी उन्होंने खुद को एक पावरफुल लीडर बनाया. हमने उनसे कुछ ऐसे पॉलिटिकल इनसाइट्स भी जाने जो देश के कई मिनिस्टर्स बताने से घबराते. और इतना ही नहीं, भरत ने हमें बताया कि लाइफ की इस स्टेज पे भी वो फेलियर से कैसे डील करते हैं, नेगेटिव कमेंट्स और पर्सनल अटैक से बचने के लिए कैसे अपने माइंड को वो ट्रेन करते हैं. तो इस एपिसोड में बताए गए हर सेगमेंट को ध्यान से सुनना, क्योंकि ये सिर्फ पॉडकास्ट नहीं है, बल्कि रिच और इन्फ्लुएंशियल फैमिलीज की लाइफ का वो कैप्सूल है जो आपको मेंटली टफ और फाइनेंशियली स्टेबल बना देगा. इन्फ्लुएंशियल फैमिलीज में ऐसा क्या सिखाया जाता है जो मिडिल क्लास फैमिलीज में नहीं सिखाया जाता?
मैटर्नल ग्रैंडफादर, क्या बोलते हैं हिंदी में?
नाना जी.
नाना जी.
हाँ.
बहुत क्लोज था
हाँ.
उनसे. He passed away 2 months ago.
Hmm.
I grew up with him. He was like my father.
Hmm.
So from a very young age, he used to tell us that 8 grandchildren.
Hmm.
आप सब बहुत अनलकी हो क्योंकि आप मिडिल क्लास फैमिली में यू आर नॉट बॉर्न.
Hmm.
क्योंकि मुझे फायर इन द बेली था.
Hmm.
मैंने बहुत मेहनत किया. मुझे कुछ ज़्यादा पैसा नहीं था और पैसा कमाया, पब्लिक लाइफ में आया, MP बना, डिड लॉट ऑफ सर्विस फॉर सोसाइटी. बट आपको तब तक व्हेन यू वर बॉर्न, यू आर ऑलरेडी रिच, यू हैड अ कंफर्टेबल लाइफ. तो आपको ये फायर इन द बेली नहीं है, इसलिए आई फील बैड फॉर यू, यू आर अनलकी. तो माई डिजायर फॉर यू in your life, you should try to do something where you're going to be number one. Particularly like Nana ji बहुत active थे, and जब parliament session में नहीं था, he would be in Hyderabad, let us say, for 4 days a week. उसमें 2 dinners में he would call somebody important or influential home for dinner. Either an officer, a businessman, another politician. Um, and हम सबको बुलाते थे. And I would go sit in those dinners, 15-20 people, and I would listen. That exposure gives you a calibration. Where am I? What is my capability? What is the limit? मैं कहाँ तक ड्रीम कर सकता हूँ? A lot of people are told not to dream. That नहीं पहले finish college, get a job, don't take risks. But from a young age, I've always been allowed to dream, to fly. That I think is another huge perk of having privilege. You're not limited in a young age. ये journey में, see, it's not like you win all of the time. दादाजी और नानाजी में मैंने देखा था जब पावर में है सब बहुत लोग आते हैं मगर जब आप हार जाते हो ना वो बहुत गिर जाता है. So you see power and you see no power. Then you recognize that nothing is permanent. Nothing is going to be with you forever. So then you become less attached. You're more free. Then you don't have this baggage, ego, lesser of it. I mean, there are some who behave differently, but I became like this.
इस पोजीशन की कोई पेनफुल साइड जो लोग नहीं समझते.
जब आप सच बोलते हो, लोग को ज्यादा तक पसंद नहीं है. उनको एक स्वीट लाई और पसंद है, हार्श ट्रूथ से. So how do you balance? But at the same time, जब आप कुछ खेल खेल रहे हो, नहीं तो एक नया रास्ते में जा रहे हो, will you let the game change you or will you change the game?
But when this clarity is there कि nothing is permanent, power के साथ भी देख लिया, no power के साथ भी देख लिया, then after realizing this, what drives towards power? पता ही है कि this is something which is not permanent.
अगर कुछ करना है, सोसाइटी को चेंज करना है, पावर इज वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट. एक न्यू लॉ बनाना है, सोसाइटी को इंस्पायर करना है. लाइक you have a podcast, when you speak, millions listen. That is power. So power can come in different forms: fame, wealth, political power. But power is necessary to make change. And इसलिए, even though you have seen failure, you realize the value of power and you work towards it. Magar if you are too attached to power and you're scared of losing it, then you start making mistakes and you start cheating. Kyunki you're so scared of losing power. So that I try to reduce in myself. I try to say that yes, power बहुत important है and power के लिए काम करना है, मेहनत करना है, मगर अगर power नहीं है तो फिर भी ठीक है. You can still live a happy life. So I always believe that आपका effort, मेहनत 100% करो, जो होगा भगवान डिसाइड करेगा.
In between, you mentioned one thing, which was you built your reaction capability,
Yeah.
right? So if someone in their 20s or 30s is watching this, and ये problem सबको है कि यार reaction हो जाता है, at times. So how to build reaction capability?
No, मेरा problem था कि I wouldn't react. I would be passive. तो मेरा उस not
Passive मतलब you used to get numb or paused or what?
Yeah, I mean go into a state of shock, surprise, when you're attacked. But even when I'm not attacked, even if I'm in a social setting, I used to have this anxiety about talking to someone, doing something, largely because of fear of judgment, fear of rejection. If I go talk to somebody, if they don't talk to me back, or if they're not nice to me. So it is something like you have a desire or an opportunity. It presents itself, and then you fall into a dilemma. Should I take the opportunity? Should I speak? Should I ask? Should I do? And you keep thinking, and the opportunity is gone.
Right. And I'm sure many can relate to this.
Yeah. And then I come back home, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, I had these 3 opportunities at this event, or these 2 people I wanted to talk to, but I didn't, and I feel bad. That क्यों नहीं किया? Then from a young age, I started telling myself, whatever I want to change in me, that you have to do it, you have to do it. So I would say that maybe when I was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 10 opportunity में अगर मैं 2 या 3 लेता था, Now I take art now. So it's a gradual
Right.
a process of change. So even when it comes to reaction, earlier if someone hits me, I would go off into shock. And by the time I figure out what to do, that moment is past. Now I'm not aggressive. I don't get into a fight. But if someone attacks me, I instantly react. So that is again conditioning.
True.
When you face enough instances where you realize that, oh, I'm not reacting or I'm going off into a shell because I'm not used to it. Right? I was not attacked from when I was a child. I was always in a comfort zone. So now I've conditioned myself to have that ability to switch on whenever. So if somebody is being rude, aggressive, trying to get physical, I have the confidence now that I can switch it on.
Right.
But it's in my power. I am not someone who loses control. I'm a control freak. So I don't like to lose control.
So you hold your keys in your hands.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
no one
exactly.
else can get there.
Yeah. I don't want someone to be able to get under my skin. So most of the time I'm like, it's not worth my time. I walk away.
But कितना impact करता है emotionally being a member of parliament and being in public life, leading an institution, such a big institution, and जब कोई troll कर रहा है या कोई of course you'll get read good things about you, you'll read bad things about you. Emotionally कितना impact करता है? How much it affects and how you take it? How you know it's helpful? How you know it's distracting?
It's very complicated. There's so many different kinds of trolls. Like let's talk about a few. One kind of troll is my opposition party sympathizers or their spokespersons. मैं कुछ भी करूं, उनको पसंद नहीं आएगा. Even if I build a 100-floor building for the city for free, they will still find a problem with it. So those kinds of trolls, I ignore totally because I know that it is a propaganda, it is agenda based. That doesn't impact me. The second is that general audience who are not sympathizers of the opposition party. I say something or do something which they don't like. And even if the opposition is flaring it up, common man also picks up that agenda. And they start trolling me, saying that he's so arrogant or he's so elite. Then I think, okay, did I say something wrong? Or was it the way I said it? So then I think, okay, is it because my confidence is being perceived as arrogance? And can I change my tone? I learn from that. So it's a time for me to introspect. So even if I'm saying it confidently, other person is taking it as arrogant, it's not a good thing. It's not about how you feel, it's about how others perceive you. So that I take it as a learning, as a feedback to improve. There are some others who don't read too much of the truth and get carried away. I feel sad, both for them and for society at large. Because they are not taking the time to educate themselves, to understand the issue. They come to conclusions so quickly.
क्या ethical लोग politics में survive कर सकते हैं?
In what role? That depends. Back end में और easy है. Front end में और मुश्किल है.
क्या मुश्किल है?
Back end में अगर you are advising a leader, advising a party, it's more easy. क्योंकि you are not in the public eye, you don't have to face elections, you don't have to lie. So ethical होना और आसान है. अगर आपको contest करना है, जीतना है, लोग से जीतना है, ethical होना और मुश्किल होता रहता है. क्योंकि जब आप सच बोलते हो, लोग को ज्यादा तक पसंद नहीं है. उनको एक स्वीट लाई और पसंद है, हार्श ट्रूथ से. So how do you balance? But at the same time, जब आप कुछ खेल खेल रहे हो, या तो एक नया रास्ता में जा रहे हो, will you let the game change you or will you change the game? So if you see my colleagues, most people prefer the sweet lie. क्योंकि वो सोचते हैं कि उनको भी वही चाहिए. जब कुछ ट्रांसफर के लिए आते हैं, फेल हुआ पास करने के लिए पूछने के आते हैं, सैलरी इंक्रीज के लिए, ये सब ऐसा वो all sorts of personal requests. 90% of the time they're ineligible. 95% they're ineligible. अगर आप सच बोलते हो कि ये आप एलिजिबल नहीं हो तो मैं क्यों करना, तो बाहर जाके वो डांटेंगे, ये क्या एमपी है, इनको क्यों जिताया हम. मगर आप बोले कि नो आई विल डू इट, आप पहले आप नंबर लेते हो, फोन करते हो, बहुत खास है मेरा, कुछ करो उनके लिए. बाहर जाके बोलेंगे बहुत अच्छा एमपी है. हुआ या नहीं, मेरे लिए ट्राई किया था. देन इज इट एथिकल? बिकॉज दैट इज ऑल एक्टिंग. You know वो नहीं होगा.
Right.
But the other person is happy. So that is one kind of ethicality, which is how do you do grievance redressal, requests, all of that. The other is that, like for me, elections are very expensive, right? South India mein elections both expensive. Most of the money that I spend is my money or my family's money, right? I get some donations. Now I'm scared to take donations from anybody who I feel will ask me to do something wrong tomorrow. कि इतना पैसा दिया हूँ इसलिए मेरे लिए ये फेवर चाहिए, नहीं तो ये मुझे होना चाहिए. So I won't even like talk to those people, won't take anything from them. But others don't have that luxury. They'll take it because they don't have enough wealth of their own. They need support from somebody. But the minute you take, I call it blood money.
You call it?
Blood money. Once you take blood money, then you have to pay with your blood. So I'm privileged where I don't have to take it. I can say no. But a lot of youngsters who enter politics don't know this, don't have access to enough good role models. So unfortunately start following the wrong role models or suppressed by the wrong people. And yes, and because of that, the vast majority of our government political system is unethical.
Recently अभी न्यूज में बहुत ज्यादा है. What are your views about कॉकरोच जनता पार्टी?
It's crazy, right? I think in, I don't know, 3 or 4 days, they reached 20 million followers. See, I think there is some latent frustration that is there in the youth. Youth in general are more agitated, more aspirational, more idealistic. They don't want trees to be cut. They want the world to run in a certain way. Agitation, anger, frustration is not enough. It's a great starting point. But after that, you need to start peeling off the layers of an onion. And then you get to the bulb. And then you realize that, oh, solving this problem is not that simple. Wishing a problem away is not going to make the problem go away. So I think the Cockroach Janata Party is an example for parties like us who are in power today. We are ruling the state of Andhra Pradesh. We're in alliance with the BJP in the national government. You should recognize that nothing is permanent. And you should listen. If you don't listen to your stakeholders, don't feel their pain, don't answer their pain, then you cannot remain in power. But at the same time, I don't think India is in a place where many frail democracies are, right? Like if you see Nepal, you see Bangladesh, our neighbors, you see the Arab nations which had the Arab Spring, where dictatorships of decades were overthrown by citizens. In those places, after the overthrowing happened, are the countries better off? Not a single country that I can think of. Bangladesh, Nepal, Egypt, you name it. No country is better off. So the desire for any good democracy is that maintain stability, increase aspiration, trust, hope in the government. So if you're such incidents, when they happen, it's an opportunity to reflect. See, we are 140 crore people, 145 crore people. 20 million followers bole to 2 crores, which is 1.5% of India's population. Very significant, but not everybody. We should not get carried away. Listen to them. 1.5% is valuable, but you need 35-40% to form a government. So that balance is always necessary. I think a good leader will listen and they will calibrate.
क्या लग रहा है? What are the मतलब Gen Z लेड ये वाला है, बट व्हाट आर द प्रॉब्लम्स, व्हाट आर द इश्यूज जो सुनने चाहिए, व्हाट नीड्स टू बी रिफ्लेक्टेड, व्हाट आर द पेन एरियाज?
Many pain areas. See, the problem is we are in a fast changing world, and we are in a very large democracy. Democracy में problem है that you can only do things by consensus. You need to get majority of the people to agree to do something. Otherwise, you can't do it. Autocracies में you don't need that. Singapore, China, they don't need 51% of the people to agree to something. If good leaders recognize that something needs to be done, through their sheer willpower, tenacity, authoritarian capacity, they do it. And then if once it starts showing results, then citizens have no need to protest. They will protest in the beginning, but results will come fast enough. You take Singapore, when Lee Kuan Yew took over, a small fishing village. They didn't have their own water. They didn't have their own sand. Through 32 years as, I think, the president or prime minister, what has happened to Singapore now? Then China. China was slightly behind us in the 90s, early 90s. But in three and a half decades, how have they been able to grow? So first you recognize that there are different models of governance. Democracy में ये problem है. So the problem with democracy is that people want to come into power to do good. To come into power, you need to satisfy people. To satisfy people, you have to promise them. And it is easy to promise easy things. What is that? I'll give you this much money per month. I'll give you a free bus ride. I'll give you a free this. And if I don't promise you, the opposition will promise. So freebies are becoming a necessary evil. But what is the limit to that? The more you give, the more lazy people become. And if they become lazy, they're not willing to work hard. Somebody shared a statistic on X. In the uneducated or undereducated people, basically who didn't complete 10th class or 12th class, unemployment rate is 3%. But in the graduated class, those who finished college, finished masters, unemployment rate is over 40%. What does this mean? It means that job availability is not the problem. Mindset is the problem.
Solution क्या है? What according to you is the solution? Because अभी I think number one pain area, we were discussing pain areas. Number one pain area is unemployment in the youth. Generally यही सामने आता है. In fact, behind CJP, the unemployment was one major trigger. तो क्या solution है इसका?
So we need to redefine what is employment and unemployment.
What is
World has
employment
cha-
and unemployment?
What world has changed, right? If I'm a Swiggy driver, it's employment. If I'm a Zomato driver, it's employment. But people don't perceive it as employment. I'll tell you why. I go वाइजैक में मैं कैंपेनिंग जब जाता हूँ, घर को जाता हूँ, पूछता हूँ कि बच्चे क्या कर रहे हैं. Only if it is a government job or only if it is a job that is over 1-2 lakhs in a private company, they deem it as a good job. जब कोई 15-20 हजार के लिए कंपनी में काम कर रहा है, they don't deem it as a job. Because they feel ये permanent नहीं है, ये security नहीं है, इससे शादी नहीं होगा. So there's a perception problem. But the new form of employment is this.
नहीं, बट ये परसेप्शन प्रॉब्लम है क्या? मतलब सच में अगर कोई इस तरह के ब्लू कॉलर जॉब में है तो नहीं उसको देखा जाता विद दैट व्यू पॉइंट. उसकी शादी में प्रॉब्लम आती है, उसके
It is
पेरेंट्स
true.
को प्राइड फील नहीं होती. सो
Yes.
इट्स द रियलिटी आल्सो.
It is the reality, but that is the world we live in. See, I'm saying that you cannot be stuck on principle or prestige forever. The country needs, let's say, like civil engineering. The country needs 5 lakh civil engineers. But nobody wants to study civil engineering. Kyun? Because you don't want to go work in the work site. You don't want to wear a hard hat. You don't want to be out in the sun and dust. But everybody wants to study computer science, but there's no computer science jobs because of AI now. Earlier, if 100 people are getting employed, now 30-40 people are getting employed and doing the same kind of work. So this one needs to realize that सब कुछ मुझे comfort zone में मिलेगा, मुझे AC चाहिए, ऑफिस डेस्क में ही काम करूंगा. No. See, चाइना में आप देखो कहाँ अपॉर्चुनिटी है, कहाँ काम है, वहां जाना है, तो ही आपको लाइफ होगा. So what should the governments do? It should start promoting skills. Start communicating to people the value of skills. अभी आप ऑस्ट्रेलिया में जाए तो वहाँ एक इलेक्ट्रिशियन और एक प्लम्बर को $250,000, $300,000 एनुअल पे है. Lot more than software engineers. Entry level software engineers. And they're having a great life. That time will come in India also. It's a matter of time. See, perceptions also shift. 10 साल पहले, suppose you told people you're a podcaster, people would not take you seriously. But today, world is also changing.
Right.
More acceptance is coming. Only thing is, उसमें those who are able to be courageous take the early steps. See more success.
आपने जैसे बताया that global exposure you had, right? So you stayed a lot of time in US. ऐसा क्या है जो वहां से सीखा जो इंडिया ने नहीं सिखाया?
For me particularly, there's an opportunity, right? क्योंकि मैंने एक sheltered life जिया हूँ इंडिया में. मेरा taxes कुछ नहीं करना था, payment कुछ नहीं करना था, laundry कुछ नहीं, cleaning कुछ नहीं. I never took care of myself. तो जब मैंने कॉलेज पर्ड्यू यूनिवर्सिटी को गया था, I had to live by myself. खुद का लॉन्ड्री करना था, कुछ खुद का बिल्स करना था. एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, अगर आप गाड़ी गलत जगह पार्किंग लगाते हो, पार्किंग फाइन मिलेगा. जब गाड़ी चला रहे हो, ओवर स्पीडिंग कर रहे हो तो स्पीडिंग फाइन मिलेगा. ज्यादा स्पीडिंग फाइन होगा तो लाइसेंस सस्पेंड होगा. सो कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस आर रियल. एंड यहाँ रुपए कम है मगर वहाँ डॉलर में एक्सपेंसिव है. तो अगर आप कन्वर्जन करोगे तो लगेगा और ज्यादा पैसा खर्चा हो जा रहा है. I didn't have access to so much money in India. I was comfortable, but I was not wasting money. So when you waste money over there because of a speeding fine or something, then you become more conscious, more responsible.
हुआ था क्या ऐसा कुछ?
I got 3-4 speeding fines and many parking tickets. And then even your routine bills, like your internet bill, your electricity bill. जब आप कैंपस के बाहर जाते हो, you take an apartment. You have to take care of your bills. And अगर आप पे करना भूल जाते हो, late fees, penalties, ये सब, what 20 years ago I got used to. It brings discipline. It brings responsibility. And it also brings dignity of labor. तो जब मैं यूएस को गया था, कोई काम नीचे नहीं है. सब तुम्हारा काम है, करना चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं है कि लॉन्ड्री खराब है, छोटा काम है. हाउसकीपिंग, घर का क्लीनलीनेस करना छोटा काम है. सब हम ही करते थे. So मुझे dignity of labor बहुत ज़्यादा आ गया है. So today anywhere I go, even if I go to a party or anything, I go to the toilet or go somewhere, the person who's cleaning over their body language is very shy and reserved, and like people don't talk to them. But I always try to make it a point to say thank you and appreciate the work that they're doing.
Nice.
And to also make them feel that they have dignity of their labor. Everyone does. Right? So that I think was a great experience for those 4 years. मगर एक फर्क है. यूएस में human labor cost is very expensive. So they have designed their systems, their processes where you can do things by yourself. It's easy to file taxes in US. It's easy to do your laundry in US. It's easy to pay your bills in US. मगर इंडिया में human labor cost is not that high. So our processes are most horrible, slow, inefficient. टैक्सेस करना बहुत मुश्किल है क्योंकि हम एक क्लर्क को भेज देते हैं. तुम जाओ बैंक में पूरा दिन रुको. वहाँ टाइम इज वेरी वैल्यूबल. आई एम अ वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल. आई कांट गो सिट इन द बैंक फॉर 4 hours. तो वहाँ बैंक को जाएंगे तो 20 मिनट में काम हो जाएगा. मगर यहाँ 2-3 घंटा लगेगा. सो इंडिया सोसाइटी हैज टू चेंज बिकॉज आवर ह्यूमन कॉस्ट इज ऑल्सो गोइंग अप. Our processes have to be made simple. Simple thing. You go to a washing machine in US. There'll be only 4 or 5 features. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ये 5 सीखो हो जाएगा. यहाँ वॉशिंग मशीन में 20 फीचर्स होंगे. सीखने में 1 दिन हो जाएगा. So we assume that somebody will be paid to do it.
True.
So at Geetham, at Vizag, what I try to do is simplify everything. I always say citizen first. Design everything citizen-centric. Every citizen, from a small child to an old person, should be able to do their own things end to end. We should design our city, our university like that. In Geetham, I'm able to do much faster. Because I'm the president, I'm like a benevolent dictator. So I can do things much faster. वाइजैक में और मुश्किल है और टाइम लगेगा, मगर मैं करूंगा.
So, what do you think should be? I mean, what changes are required in the education system? You have studied abroad. You have closely seen education system out of India, right? And you're part of education system in India. So, what do you think needs change?
See, we have problems at every level.
Uh-huh.
प्राइमरी स्कूल में प्रॉब्लम है, सेकेंडरी हाई स्कूल में प्रॉब्लम है, कॉलेज में प्रॉब्लम है, मगर none of these people get tested as much as colleges.
Hmm.
क्योंकि स्कूल के बाद, प्राइमरी के बाद सेकेंडरी को जाते हो, सेकेंडरी के बाद हाई स्कूल को जाते हो. यहाँ कुछ टेस्ट नहीं है.
Mhm.
हाई स्कूल के बाद कॉलेज को जाते हो, मगर कॉलेज के बाद जॉब मिलना है. अगर जॉब नहीं मिलेगा देन यू आर अ फेलियर.
Hmm.
मगर ये टेस्ट कब हो रहा है? जब मेरा उम्र 21-22 है. तब तक ट्रू टेस्ट कुछ नहीं है.
Hmm.
क्योंकि इवन इफ आई एम अ खराब स्टूडेंट, मुझे कुछ कॉलेज में तो सीट मिल जाता है, बट द कॉलेज इज बीइंग मेजर्ड. मगर अगर मेरा कॉलेज इतना अच्छा नहीं है, मेरे पास जो स्टूडेंट्स आ रहे हैं वो भी वीक स्टूडेंट है,
हाँ.
मगर वो गलती मेरा नहीं है.
Hmm.
पूरा आधा गलती मेरा है, बाकी आधा किसका है? जो पहले सिस्टम था, प्राइमरी स्कूलिंग, सेकेंडरी स्कूलिंग, पेरेंट्स. But who's holding them accountable? So one thing that the government can do, and I've been advocating this both in our state of Andhra Pradesh and central government. पहले जब टेक्नोलॉजी इतना ज्यादा नहीं था, ट्रैकिंग बहुत मुश्किल था, बट अभी इंडिया में जो है, आधार है, यूनिक आईडी है, यूपीआई है, ट्रैकिंग हैज बिकम मच मोर इजियर.
Tracking as in?
I'll explain.
Uh-huh.
अभी जब एक स्टूडेंट ग्रेजुएट होता है, यू लिंक द डिग्री ऑफ दैट स्टूडेंट, which is their student ID, it's called APAR, APAR, with their Aadhaar, with their income tax, with their UPI. अगर ये चारों को आप लिंक करोगे, जब आप एक कॉलेज में ग्रेजुएट होते हो, 1 साल के बाद, 3 साल के बाद, अगर आपको कॉलेज कुछ सर्वे भेजता है, टेल मी हाउ यू आर डूइंग, आई डोंट रिप्लाई टू द सर्वे, क्योंकि आई एम बिजी, आई एम लेजी, आई एम टायर्ड, व्हाटएवर. वी सी दैट. अगर हम 10,000 स्टूडेंट्स को सर्वे भेजते हैं, 300-400 लोग रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं. सो दैट इज नॉट अ ट्रू रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ द ऑडियंस. मगर जब ये आप ऑटोमेट करते हो और ये सब अथॉरिटीज स्पीक टू ईच अदर, द टेक्नोलॉजी स्पीक्स टू ईच अदर. सो समझो कि गीतम में हर साल 8,000 लोग ग्रेजुएट होते हैं. आप एक काम करो, 1 साल के बाद you call on their APAR ID, not individual names, group. 8,000 IDs को आप बुलाओ, चेक आधार, चेक पैन, और देखो उसमें 8,000 लोग में कितने लोग इनकम टैक्स फाइल कर रहे हैं, एंड वो 8,000 में कितने लोग इनकम टैक्स पे कर रहे हैं, कितना पे कर रहे हैं. बेस्ड ऑन दैट यू नो हाउ मच दे आर मेकिंग. उनका यूपीआई ट्रांजैक्शन वॉल्यूम कितना है. अगर हम ये देखेंगे, बहुत आसान से हमको मालूम हो जाएगा किस कॉलेज में उनका लाइफ आउटकम्स बेटर है. तो ये सेल्फ रिपोर्टिंग, लाइज, मैनिपुलेशन, ये सब चले जाता है. इनएक्यूरेट डेटा, अनअवेलेबल डेटा, ये सब प्रॉब्लम हमको 80 साल से है, अब नहीं होगा. बिकॉज टुडे टेक्नोलॉजी अलाउज अस टू ट्रैक इट.
Practically, you see this happening in future?
It will happen. 100% it will happen. The US had implemented this even in a non-technology era, I think 20-30 years ago. And they had significant outcomes because of it. We are not doing it. We are not measuring outcomes. We are measuring inputs. As a government, as an education system, we are measuring kitna building hai, kitne teacher hai, kitna land hai. All of this is useless. Measure outcomes. So then what happens is, the good colleges will be recognized, that information will be published in the market, parents will have access to this information now. It's no longer about the college lying. Now I can't take a front page ad in the Hindu or Times of India and say 100% placement, itna jobs, isme zyada tak jhoot hai. There are hardly 20-30% ethical institutions. Remaining 60-70% are lying to some degree. But when the true data is linked, but again, then the question of privacy will come. is my private data accessible to the government or employees of the government? Then what we should do, we should anonymize this data. I don't need the name of the student.
Encrypted.
Yeah, all I need to know is ये graduating batch में 500,000 लोग का overall career outcomes average, mean, median कैसा है? This outcome measurement, if we are able to do, and this is now today not a problem of technology or infrastructure, it's a matter of intent and decision. Government of India, state governments can pass this law, make this process. Then education will quickly transform. Then what happens is the guys who are doing bad education and unrequired education, all of them will shut down. And suddenly new institutions will start coming up which are offering skill-based education. And the good institutions that are doing a good job will grow.
एक चीज आपने इसमें बताई थी which was कि there was an interesting reflection कि there are two angles to it. One is the primary school and secondary school also, right? College एक level पे आके आया जिसका बहुत ही impressive solution आपने दिया. But the primary level, which I also agree कि एक student अगर अपनी life के 18-20 साल बिता चुका है, 18 to 20 years he or she has spent, confidence नहीं है, grooming नहीं है, career guidance right नहीं है, they don't realize they want they can go in civil engineering but they choose computer science because career counseling was never given. उस साइड पे हम कैसे ठीक कर सकते? Because that is a route.
There's a trickle down effect. जो solution मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ, it will have a huge trickle down effect on the entire education system. How is that going to work? तो अभी क्या हो रहा है? देश में हर साल 20-25 लाख लोग नीट लिख रहे हैं, 15 लाख लोग IIT JEE लिख रहे हैं, ओवरलैप समझो कि 5 लाख लोग हैं, तो यूनिक 30-35 लाख लोग एंट्रेंस टेस्ट लिख रहे हैं कि फ्री मेडिकल सीट या इंजीनियरिंग सीट या आर्किटेक्चर कुछ प्रोग्राम के लिए लिख रहे हैं. मगर IIT और NIT और ये फ्री मेडिकल सीट्स कितने हैं देश में? सब मिला के 1 लाख. तो बाकी 33 या 34 लाख लोग कहाँ जा रहे हैं? They are going to private universities or government universities or smaller colleges, and where the results are varyingly changing. Because of why? Because a brand is built. That अगर आप फ्री में डॉक्टर बनोगे तो करियर सेट है, नहीं तो IIT में सीट मिलेगा तो करियर सेट है. Because of that aspiration, people don't want to try anything else. They only want to do this. And इस वजह से इस ambition या greed, whatever you call it, any parent in most parts of India, they want their child in 11th and 12th and intermediate, we call it intermediate. In other states, it's called high school or 11th and 12th. They want them to do entrance test prep. बस ये test prep institution, कोटा, right? हमारे पास है श्री चैतन्य, नारायणा. तो ये टेस्ट प्रेप इंस्टीट्यूशंस में लोग जाते हैं 2 साल, 3 साल, 4 साल just to crack that entrance test. And वो 2 या 4 साल बाकी सब भूल जाते हैं. No sports, no extracurricular activities, no holistic development, no independent thinking, just test taking.
इस पोजीशन की कोई पेनफुल साइड जो लोग नहीं समझते?
हाँ, तो एक प्रॉब्लम है that things are slow. Government is slow. There is corruption. There is inefficiency. ये सबसे काम करना है, so it's frustrating. So you have to keep fighting and keep pushing things. If you relax, nothing will happen. See, in an organization, private organization में अगर कोई काम नहीं करेगा, so you can remove them from the job. Government, you can't do that. So that part is very frustrating. Second thing is that in general, and we didn't touch upon this topic, that most people don't want to change the system for better.
As in?
अभी एक सिस्टम है, चल रहा है, क्यों चेंज करना है? स्टेटस को. तो अगर आपको सिस्टम को चेंज करना है, you're fighting against so many people. That becomes frustrating.
चल रहा है, चलने दो. और क्या है जो इंडिया ने सिखाया जो पूरी दुनिया में कहीं नहीं सीखा?
See, in spite of everything that I've learned, like being independent after the age of 18 in the US, building your own life, working hard, being responsible for your own learning. यहाँ कॉलेज के आते हैं बच्चे, कुछ नहीं सीखते हैं, कॉलेज बंक करते हैं. मगर US में if you do that, the loan is on your head. The minute you finish college, you don't have any safety net. The people over there are much more responsible. They take their learning seriously. All of that I value. I loved my time there, but I don't want to live there.
हाँ,
I don't like the society there. वहाँ वहाँ बहुत इंडिपेंडेंट सोसाइटी है. मुझे इतना इंडिपेंडेंस मुझे पसंद नहीं है.
हम्म.
एंड वहाँ ऑलमोस्ट डिसजॉइंट एंड डिस्टेंट सोसाइटी है.
But इंडिपेंडेंस में क्या प्रॉब्लम है? इंडिपेंडेंट सोसाइटी में
तो
क्या
बड़ा
issue है?
क्योंकि सी इन यूएस इफ आई वांट टू मीट अ फ्रेंड
हम्म.
अपॉइंटमेंट लेना पड़ता है. ओ ये मेरा कैलेंडर है, ऑनलाइन देख लो, जब स्लॉट मिलेगा ब्लॉक कर लो, मिलेंगे. मुझे आपको आज मिलना है, मैं घर आ जाता हूँ, नहीं तो फोन करता हूँ. मगर वहाँ ऐसा नहीं चलता है.
हम्म.
कितना भी दोस्त हो,
हम्म.
3 दिन के बाद अपॉइंटमेंट मिलेगा, तब जाके मिलेंगे. दैट इज द फर्स्ट नो नो फॉर मी.
हम्म.
If I love someone, I should see them whenever I want to see them. Second thing is we take each other for granted over here, which I like. Like, for example, I had Indian classmates, Telugu classmates. We lived together. 10 लोग के पास 5 गाड़ी थे. चाबी एंट्रेंस के बोल में था. आपको मन लग रहा हो एक गाड़ी लेके जाना है, वो चाबी लेके जाते थे.
हक है वो.
हाँ, we took it for granted. मगर अमेरिकन है, उनका एक कॉफी पीने से भी हम पूछना पड़ता है. Can I have your coffee? Can I share the meal? It's a very different kind of culture. Here we live with our parents. We live with our grandparents. I am who I am because of my grandfathers. They have taught me so much. And phases of life maybe, when we become parents, we're so busy building our career. We don't have that much time to spend with our children, to nurture them, to mentor them. But grandparents are retired and they spend time with them. So that emotional support, intellectual support we receive, US society doesn't have. And that is why you see divorce rates are much higher in the US, and the children battling a lot more drug issues, mental health issues, because of that kind of societal problems. India mein it's lesser. I'm not saying India is perfect.
अब तक का your hardest decision ever?
Maybe I guess one thing that can come is 2018 में जब दादाजी passed away, I got opportunity to become president of Geetam. And then I had a serious dilemma that elections भी contest कर सकता हूँ या नहीं. अगर करूँगा तो ये दोनों responsibility को justice कैसे करूँगा. And the decision was, should I try or should I not try now and try for elections later. But then ultimately I decided, I was 29 years old, that किस 29-year-old को ये opportunity मिलेगा. मेरा intentions साफ है. अगर मैं फेल होऊंगा नहीं तो मेरा टाइम भी मैं पूरा नहीं दे सकता हूँ. A well-intentioned, hardworking person will still better than an ill-intentioned, corrupt person. So I took the decision to try both. So you learned from your failures. I'm a stronger, better person now. So इसलिए while that failure in that moment was horrible or painful and frustrating, it was that failure mistake that made me who I am today.
Which
So hence
failure?
so I will not change that.
Which failure taught you the most?
Many failures. I mean, in intermediate, when I was in 11th and 12th, I remember it being a bad phase of my life, where suddenly I became a bad student. I was bunking my junior college. I was fighting with my mom and dad. I was a bad kid. Like, I don't have good memories, and my confidence was at its rock bottom. Kyunki 10th tak I was a good student. That 1-2 year period, I went through a lot of emotional turmoil. And I think it was those 2 years that have made me who I am. Where from there I decided that no, I'm not going to be this person. I'm not going to let down my family. And I'm going to build my confidence. So from when I went to Purdue, I've seen a lot more ups in life. I've had setbacks. I damaged my back and other things, but nothing as bad as those 2-year period, 1.5 year period.
Probably the biggest lessons, right?
At that time?
Yes.
Wo time mein? I don't know, maybe it was like puberty and emotions and rebellious nature. All of those things probably taught me that. I don't know, again, like that experience is what has made me who I am today, which is that take responsibility for your life, and don't blame others for your failures, and don't hurt others, don't harm others, and be a better person. So there are many failures. I constantly keep learning, and I operate by certain mantras. Today there are certain mantras that I operate by that help me live my life.
Your association with the TDP, how it has benefited positively and or affected negatively Geetam ko?
So not just in Telugu Desam, because my mother's father was in Congress. जब आप politics में हैं, the perception is that you have all of the power, all of the possibility of getting political favors to benefit your organizations. It is true that many politicians try to use power to benefit themselves and their family members or their friends. But at the same time, in my lifetime, all businessmen that I have seen who have come into direct politics themselves, 90% have failed, 95% have failed. My own family is an example. Both my grandfathers were very successful businessmen for 2 decades. 80s they came. 90% of our net worth is gone.
90% of the net worth gone after they came into politics.
90% of our businesses have collapsed. Because the most important thing to our business was not political favors or money. It was the entrepreneur being available to lead the organization. And once the entrepreneur at the top left, it became a leaderless organization. And if the successor was not able to fill that gap, like the children or whoever you selected, and it's not just my family. So many businessmen I have seen who have become politicians and their business has collapsed. So many. So it is a misnomer. See, because if I am a nobody, I come from no business background, then TK, politics में मैं fraud करता हूँ और कुछ करता हूँ, I earn money. Then yes, you can blame me. But if I'm a successful businessman, I'm earning 100, 200 crores of profit before coming into politics, I can obviously double, triple, quadruple that by myself. I don't need politics for that. I've already been doing it for 2 decades. So that, I think, is a misnomer that people don't understand, firstly. So in our case, we suffered in both, क्योंकि Congress and TDP were against each other. For example, जब Congress power में था, nothing would happen to my father's side of the family because they would say वो TDP में है, opposition है. जब TDP power में था, TDP सोच रही थी कि अगर हमारे MP को कुछ करेंगे, लोग सोचेंगे कि कुछ favoritism है. So both sides you are targeted. So it is the worst thing. So actually, if you want to succeed in business, the advice is stay far away from politics. Because if you're a businessman or if you're an institution builder, you should not be allied to anybody. अगर कुछ पैसा पूछेगा, पैसा दे दो, काम कर लो, आगे जाओ. मगर once you become tagged with the political party, your party doesn't want to help you because opposition will attack you for favoritism. Opposition does not help you because if they help you, you'll become strong and you'll... So this has hurt us a lot as a family, and Geetam included. More recently, like when as a university we say we're doing well, we want to grow, we want more land for growth, this becomes a huge issue in the media because they're like, oh, land is being given away for free, land is worth this much money. See, because historically, like if you say that shares are being given or something, a common man or a farmer may not understand the value of that share. But land is something that everybody understands. Land is something that is emotional. For a farmer, it's their identity. For someone who has a home, it's their identity. So when they feel that, oh, it's so difficult for me to buy land of my own, but valuable land is being given to some institution, so they're likely to buy into that propaganda. And that political parties use it. So when a party wants to develop, it becomes a problem. When a party doesn't want to develop, it's okay. If you're a communist or a socialist and आपको कुछ development नहीं करना है, तो state में कुछ नहीं होगा. Take West Bengal as an example. I heard certain political leaders saying that West Bengal में development कभी नहीं होगा, कभी land acquisition नहीं होगा. I felt sad to hear that. That if industry must come, if employment must be created, land must be aggregated and be given. In our state, our people trust our party, trust our leader, and so much land has been given.
Hmm.
Amravati ke liye, they have given 35,000 acres in land pooling. Abhi, you take Uttarandhra where I belong, North Andhra, and wahan they have given couple of thousand acres for ArcelorMittal steel plant. 40 years ago, they have given, no, 50 years ago, they have given 30,000 acres for the Vizag steel plant. Why are people giving land? Because they believe that if we give land and if development comes, if not me, my children will get a job and will have a good future. So as a people, as a Telugu people, as a leadership, we have been able to convince our people that sometimes some individual sacrifice happens for the greater good, and you will be rewarded in some other way, either in terms of money or employment or something of that sort. So that trust is there. So similarly, an institution like Geetam, ultimately we will prevail in the sense that our government is giving land, but because I'm in politics, there's extra scrutiny on me. I don't like it. It's unfortunate, but this is how society is.
सो आपकी यूनिवर्सिटी को लैंड मिला और आपकी पार्टी रूलिंग पार्टी है, तो क्वेश्चन वैलिड नहीं है, जस्टिफाइड नहीं है ये?
Land up tak nahi mila. We're asking for it. I hope we get it. See, Geetam started in 1980. Our political party TDP started in 1983, 1984. So it is not like we dreamed that someday party aayega, uske baad we'll start Geetam, right? So the desire to build an institution of excellence, to teach, to uplift people has started much before that. And we have now campuses in 3 locations. In Vizag, the government did give us land. About 30 years ago, they gave us 70 acres of land. And it is on that land where that campus has grown. It has done very well. And now we're asking more land to develop the campus. But if you take Hyderabad or Bangalore, Hyderabad mein we have about 250 acres. In Bangalore, we have about 35-40 acres. This is again acquired from the local villagers and farmers where we set up the campus. How are we able to do it? We did it at a time where the land cost was affordable. We bought land at 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs, 30 lakhs per acre 15 years ago, 18 years ago. But in those same locations now, land value has gone up much more. It has become worth 4 crores, 5 crores, 6 crores, even more based on speculation. So that at that rate, we can't buy the same land that we bought. So what does that indicate? That when the land is affordable, institutions can buy it. But if you look at the locations of those two, they are far away from the city. The Hyderabad campus land will probably be 45 minutes to 1 hour, 15 minutes away from the city. Bangalore will be easily an hour away. Whereas the Vizag campus, when it started, it was treated as outskirts. But now it is well and truly part of the city. Right? Airport se 30-40 minute hai. Center of the city se 20 minute hai. So, wo location mein, if we expand, that is where it makes sense. It's not that Geetam wants land some 200 kilometers away to do it. We want land where the university is to expand, right? So, that is the valid thing. The other thing is like don't take me as an example, right? ISB, when it was given land, ISB was a new institution. It did not have any track record or anything. They came with good people, good partnerships. But it was a business school. It was admitting only 100 students a year. But our then Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu ji gave them 250 acres. An institution that is admitting 100 students a year. Why should 250 acres be given? A lot of people questioned him then also. But that 250 acres today, if you see ISB is admitting now maybe 1,000 full-time students a year. Maybe another 1,000, 2,000 part-time executive education students. But it's probably the best ranked business school in the country and amongst the best in the world. So it is that vision. Okay, leave ISB. ISB you don't understand, don't accept. In Andhra itself, we have given land to SRM, to VIT, to Amrita, to Centurion. I can keep going, right? Most recently, we have given to BITS Pilani 50, 100, 150, 200 acres. Now, they are a private deemed university. I am a private deemed university. They are top 100 ranked. We are top 100 ranked. So it's not like I'm asking, do me a favor, right? It is like, if you believe I'm a good institution, if you feel I'm going in the right direction, and I'm asking because if I have to buy land, it is not available because there's only government land around me. And even if it was private land, at the rate that the market wants to sell, it's not viable to run an education institution. So you see, any global city, any Indian city, for educational institutions, for healthcare institutions, they always give land at a subsidized rate because you want that service to be available to citizens in an accessible manner. The only question becomes where you give land to institutions that don't have credibility, or institutions that will misuse that land for some other purpose. Then it becomes a problem. But law doesn't allow. So if I'm given land to run a university, it is not that I'll do a housing venture and sell the land. No, I can't. The allotment is very clear. You use it only for running a university. So you come to our Vizag campus, we have 100 acres. We'll have about 15-20 acres of grounds. We'll have about 25-30 acres of parks. 2 acre का land देंगे तो ये सब नहीं होगा ना. A university is not a sweatshop. You are not building only tall buildings where everybody is cooked up like broiler chicken and you're just doing test prep, right? You are actually giving them an opportunity to blossom. It's a campus. Like you go to, see, that is the problem I have in India, right? Many states, the land that we have given to universities, many states don't even give that. They only give land to largely public institutions like central universities, IITs. Why not good private institutions? So I'm glad that at least our state has been more progressive. Since 25-30 years, we've been giving land to good institutions. And that has been the game changer. In fact, you see, Hyderabad has succeeded so much. This much knowledge economy has come. It is because of institutions like IIIT, ISB, which have really kickstarted that knowledge economy.
आईटी में बहुत कुछ इवॉल्व हो रहा है, एआई तेजी से आ रहा है, तो वाइजैग एज अ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कैसे खुद को प्रिपेयर कर रहा है नेक्स्ट जनरेशन टेक्नोलॉजीज के लिए?
So I think there's a first mover advantage. आप अगर 2025-2026 इन्वेस्टमेंट डेटा देखोगे, पूरा देश में जो इन्वेस्टमेंट आया है 25% आंध्रा को आया है. आंध्रा का पॉपुलेशन कितना है? 5 करोड़. देश का 140. 5 करोड़ तो कितना परसेंट है? 3.5%. 25% के इन्वेस्टमेंट आंध्रा को कैसे आया है? Be convinced global investors that Andhra is the place to invest in because it is a good government, it is a fast government, it is an intelligent government. We are well-meaning, we will operate quickly, and we will understand your problem. Data centers. जब data centers आ रहा हैं, उनका 2-3 प्रॉब्लम था. टैक्सेशन का, डेटा सॉवरेंटी का. They expressed those things with us. We were able to prevail upon the government, dialogue with them on why we should do certain things. Between that dialogue, some give and take. Ultimately, some decisions were taken. Ashwini Vaishnav ji, Nirmala Sitharaman ji, ultimately Prime Minister Modi ji. And those things were implemented. And because of that, now data centers in a big way are coming to Andhra. So, एक गूगल डेटा सेंटर $15 billion बोले तो अभी डॉलर रेट से 1.5 lakh crores. Single largest FDI in Indian history. In the city of Vizag, which is not even a top 10 city in terms of population. GDP, it is number 10 in the country. That's our bragging right. So we've always been an industrial city. Now we're getting some great data center investments.
इस पॉडकास्ट में आपकी टॉप लर्निंग क्या रही, नीचे कमेंट्स में जरूर बताना. और किस फील्ड के लोगों को आप इस पॉडकास्ट पे देखना चाहते हो, किनके सक्सेस को, इनसाइट्स को, सीक्रेट्स को डीकोड करवाना चाहते हो, नीचे कमेंट्स में बताना. हम उसी हिसाब से उन्हीं सब्जेक्ट्स पे उसी तरह के लोगों को इस पॉडकास्ट पे लाते रहेंगे. मैं पिछले 16 साल से जिस कोशिश में हूं, आगे भी उसी कोशिश में लगा रहूंगा टू हेल्प यू मूव फॉरवर्ड. फिर मिलेंगे अगली वीडियो में. तब तक खुश रहिए, खुशियां बांटते रहिए. आई लव यू ऑल.